In today's video, I'm going to share with you 5 signs that you are becoming a better photographer. And these are 5 signs that I have witnessed in my own photography journey. So I thought that it would be really valuable if I share this with you. And I'm sure that some of these will really hit home and help you out on your own photography journey. Your camera feels like an extension of your body. You're not worried about or thinking about when you're at the scene and trying to capture that photo. You're not thinking about how do I change my shutter? How do I change my aperture? How do I change my ISO? Where do I find this in the menu? You know it all off by heart because you've put the hours in. You've spent time understanding your camera inside out, and it becomes an extension of your body. So that when you're out there on the streets taking photos, you see something, it's autopilot. You just pull up your camera, you do what you need to do, and your settings are there and they're bang on, and you take that picture. And it's the same sort of thing with your framing and your composition. You've been out there, you've put the hours in, and you put the hours in because you love photography. So that when you come to a scene and you see something that you want to capture, you're not thinking about angles, what will work, what won't work. You already know because you've been through the trial and error period, the process of what works and what doesn't work. It's just like riding a bike, you know? We get on a bike and we ride it. We don't think about how do we change gear when we need to, or how do we turn left, or how do we turn right, or how do we use the back brake, how do we use the front brake. We just do it. It's autopilot because we've put the hours in and we've learned how to ride a bike. And the camera should now be an extension of your body. That is a clear sign that you are progressing as a photographer. Being able to describe your photography is a really big indication that you are growing as a photographer. When on my workshops, one of the questions I ask right at the beginning is, what type of photography do you do? And you can really tell the difference in a total beginner and somebody who's intermediate or even more advanced. They know exactly the type of photography they like to do, whether it's everyday lifestyle, whether it's layering, whether it's minimalistic style of photography. They're able to describe their photography, which helps it stand out from the crowd. Now, as a beginner photographer myself, I was all over the place. I was doing all sorts of photography. I was doing portraits, I was doing landscapes, I was doing motorcycles, cars, I was doing wedding, I was doing all sorts. And that's totally fine. It's your photography journey and you're learning along the way. If you don't do all of these different variations of photography, how do you know if you're going to like them? How do you know if you're going to like or not like car photography if you haven't done it? How do you know if you're going to like or not like wildlife photography or landscape photography if you haven't hiked for 2 hours with your rucksack on, your water bottle, your tripod, your filters and everything set up, waited for the right type of light to hit the mountain, tree or whatever it might be, and taken that photo? You just don't know. So you're exploring, you're on your photography journey, and as you progress, you will start to learn about your creative photography and your creative photography styles, your likes and your dislikes, what really makes you smile on the inside when you get home, you plug that memory card in, you pop that photo up on screen and you say, wow, I did that. You start getting bored of your own work. And the reason why you're starting to get bored is because you're not challenged anymore. You're able to produce that type of photography that you've been doing for such a long time, or maybe even just a few weeks, very easily. And it's not challenging you. It's not challenging you mentally or challenge you creatively. It becomes mundane and it becomes boring. And that's not that you're getting bored of photography. It's that you're getting bored of the type of photography that you've been doing, and it's time to level up. It's time to switch it up. Maybe you need to try a different focal length, or maybe you need to do some photography challenges, or look at the world through a different photographer's eyes and try something a little bit different. There was a time where I was doing photography in Soho, central London, and taking pictures of people inside restaurants around Soho and Chinatown. And I was doing that for a few weekends, and it looked great. It looked really cinematic and beautiful, you know, with the lights coming from one direction, usually from above. It's all dark around. It's very cinematic. It almost looks like something from a Batman movie. Smoke and steam coming out of the wok and waiting for the chef to do a certain action and then snapping that picture. And yeah, these photos look great. They look fantastic. But I got bored of them very quickly because I stopped challenging myself mentally and I stopped challenging myself creatively. So when that happens, when you start getting bored of your own work, switch it up. Try something a bit different. It doesn't have to be totally different. Just try to maybe add some layers, or maybe look at a different frame or a different way of shooting that same subject, or maybe try a different subject. It goes back to my earlier point about photography, trying different types of photography. You don't have to then jump to, you know, doing cars if you're doing portraits, but maybe you could do portraits outside of the studio if you're doing them inside the studio. Maybe you could do portraits in a cafe or inside a hotel or somewhere totally different. Or maybe you can do them in nature, or maybe you can do portraits as a couple, or something slightly different from what you're doing. So if you're getting bored of your work, it's a clear sign that you're leveling up. You need to step up to the next level, then repeat that process again. You have more intention when it comes to your photography. You're not just going out there and taking pictures of random things, random people, random subjects, cars, bikes, lampposts, phone box, you know, the red bus, the London taxis, whatever it might be. You've developed your photography and you're doing a certain style of photography. So let's say you're doing minimalist black and white is a photography, style of photography that I love. And when I first started out doing minimalist black and white, I was just looking for a patch of light, somebody to walk through it, and then I'd take that picture and then I'd be gone. But now I'm looking for layers, or two people interacting with that bit of light, or much more complicated light patterns. I'm not just looking for that, you know, that beam of light, that straight diagonal line that you see so often in minimalist photography. I'm looking for much more complicated light patterns and have much more intention when it comes to my photography. So your photography might be something totally different. You might be shooting through windows, or you might be shooting out of cars or out of trains, or you might be shooting people. When you have more intention in your photography, you'll find yourself hitting that shutter button a lot less. When I first, you know, started doing street photography, I'd come back with 800-900 pictures sometimes, and just going through them was a massive headache. Now when I go out, I have much more intention. I'm much more calm. I'm much more slow paced and looking at the environment totally differently. I'm not racing through onto the next scene, trying to capture as much as I can. Slow down, take my time, hit that shutter button when I think the time is right, and then I look at the photo that I've captured. Is it good enough? Can I improve it? If I can, I'll hang around a little bit more and capture the photo that I've been waiting for. So having intention and coming back with less photos than what you used to is a clear sign that you are growing as a photographer. You're editing to enhance your images, not to fix them. So you're doing most of your editing in camera when you're out there taking the photo. And again, you're doing this because you've put the time in, because you've been out there taking photos day after day, week after week, year after year. Your camera is an extension of your body, so you know what settings work best. And that's all done through trial and error. And we've all been there. We've all taken photos that we think are fantastic, and we've come back to Lightroom or your editing software, whatever it might be, and we've pumped up the highlights and we've dropped the shadows and we've played with it as much as we can, and or we've cropped into it and changed it into a totally different photo. We've all been there. We've all done that. But now, because you have much more intention when you're out there taking photos, you take less photos. The camera is an extension of your body. You know about shutter speed, ISO, aperture. You're doing all of the editing when you're pressing that shutter button. And when you get back to Lightroom or whatever your editing software might be, you're just tweaking it to enhance that photo. That is a clear indication that you are growing as a photographer. You stop comparing yourself to other photographers. You stop concentrating on what everyone else is doing and concentrate on your own work, because you're enjoying it so much and it gives you so much joy. You're not scrolling through social media anymore and thinking, oh, I'm going to do that photography this week, or I'm going to do that photography next month. And you're changing lanes all of the time. You're happy with the photography that you're doing and you're concentrating on your own body of work. I have students on my workshop and they say things like, why does other people's photography always look better? Even when we're at the same scene, we're using the same light, we're using the same frame, we're taking the picture, they always look at other people's cameras, the back of the screen and what they've just captured, and think, why is their photo better than mine? And that's because they've got the mindset of comparison. They're always comparing themselves to other photographers and other things in life, when they should just be looking at their own photo and concentrating on their own skill set. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying don't look at other photographers' work and get inspiration and get energy, because yes, I do that. But I never compare my work to other photographers. Everybody's on their own journey, going at their own pace, and got their own style. Comparison is the thief of joy. So when you stop comparing yourself and happy with your own photography and what you've captured in your own photography style, it's a clear indication you're going in the right direction. Okay, so there are some reasons why you are growing as a photographer. And all of these are things that I've experienced myself. So I thought I'd share them with you, as I know they're going to hit home for many of you and help you get out of a rut and help you understand your own photography journey. And one thing a lot of photographers don't do is give themselves a pat on the back. Look at their past work, look at their journey, and realize that they have grown. So I encourage you, look at your own photography journey. Look at some photos that you took 6 months ago, a year ago, 2 years ago, 5 years ago, depending on how long you've been on this journey, and give yourself a pat on the back. Realize that you have progressed, you have grown, you do understand your camera better, you have put the hours in, and keep going. Do not stop. So I'm currently putting together a London guide, places that I love to go to in London over many, many years. So I've got so much knowledge up in my head about London, the places to visit, the time of year to go, camera settings, gear, composition, lighting, and so on. The list goes on and on. Anyway, I'm putting together this guide and it will be with you shortly. So to be first to know, click on the link below, sign up to my newsletter. I'll be sending out emails to let you know as soon as it's ready. And if you haven't already, join the photography community. There's a link below this video. Until the next time, get out there and take those photos.